Hi, my name is Adam, and I healed allergies and asthma with a plant-based diet. So as a child, I didn't know. I only knew what my parents and my doctors told me about asthma, and pretty much the message I got was that some people have asthma. I was somebody who had it, and the way to control it is through taking medication. When I was young, I was eating everything. I was eating animal products. I was eating processed foods, some processed foods and some foods from scratch. My mom really felt strongly that she wanted to make meals from scratch. So the meals I had at home, at least the ones she prepared, were all from whole ingredients, more or less. But I also would eat at school, and the school lunches are like school lunches are, just probably the worst, cheapest food possible. And not only that, but as a kid, I had a sweet tooth, and I liked to eat sugary stuff and cookies and soda, and even though I wasn't allowed, I would try and eat and drink as much of that as possible. I did have a lot of dairy as a child, in the form of milk. We would drink at least one tall glass of milk with dinner every day, and I had breakfast cereal, and I put milk on that. And I had cheese products, or like lunches and whatnot usually had cheese on them. So yeah, I was eating dairy. I'd say from 98 to 2004, I had asthma again and allergies, and the allergies would trigger the asthma, and they seemed to be getting progressively worse from year to year. I knew that it was allergy-induced, so I went to an allergist, and I got one of those tests where they prick your back 100 places, and I wanted to have as many of those as possible to see what I was allergic to. And so I was able to see what things I had an allergic response to. The things that I was most allergic to were dust mites, was off the chart. Mold, cat dander, ragweed, both kinds, giant and small ragweed, and some other surprising things like cows, and some other pollen sorts of things. And I thought, well, I'll try and limit my exposure to those. But it's kind of a hard or a losing battle to completely limit exposure to all of just everything that's in the ambient air. It's virtually impossible, especially in the fall when it's ragweed season. And I noticed that I would get kind of bad and then have an asthma attack when it was ragweed season, and I went to somebody's house that had cats, and I swept in my house and breathed in the dust, and then it would just push me right over the edge, and I'd have an asthma attack that was hard to get out of. I was dating somebody who I'm now married to that was very insistent that animal products, especially dairy, could compromise my immune system. That and processed foods were the things that she mentioned. So I did an experiment where I went off of dairy, which was hard to do because there was a lot of dairy in my diet and I really liked it. But I went off of it, and within, I don't remember how long, a month, 2 months, I noticed a big improvement. That my nose wasn't running all the time, I seemed less sensitive to things, and I didn't have as many asthma attacks. These days, my diet consists of many more fresh fruits and vegetables than I was eating before. a lot of salads, green salads, root crop salads like cabbage, or not cabbage, but like beet, carrots, but also cabbage and broccoli, and just different salads made from fresh fruits and vegetables. And then for the heavier part of things, grains, whole grains like rice, quinoa, oats, some wheat, and potatoes and sweet potatoes, and some cooked vegetables like stir fries on top of on top of grains. So those are my meals. But I also am doing a lot of juicing too, or drinking freshly made juices. Mostly carrot juice, because it's the easiest thing to make. But I like green juices too. I just don't have the time to make them. So that's mostly what my diet consists of, and fruit. Just apples, and I like to eat what's in season. Before I changed my diet, I would have bad asthma attacks in the fall, starting from about early to mid-August and lasting until mid-October. And it would be, I would usually miss about a week, if not 2 weeks of work during that time, where I absolutely couldn't do much. I couldn't walk around. I couldn't think straight. I just had to stay home and try and be still and try and get over it. My health is great. I haven't suffered from an asthma attack in over a year, maybe a year and a half.